So welcome everybody to Unit 3, Lesson 6. As usual, the first thing you should do is look for the tasks to complete for U3L6. You can find it either under assignments on the Human A&P Canvas page or on the home page. Just look at that weekly calendar, scroll to today's date, which is November 9th. As usual, I'm just going to throw in your breakout rooms really quickly to share your response to a silly question. The question this time, let me make sure I'm texting everybody in the chat right now, is would you rather live where it always snows or where it is very hot all year?
What's very hot?
Let's say like in the 90s to hundreds, pretty consistently, like Caribbean kind of equatorial weather. Mm-hmm. So think about a reason why. Be ready to share, and give you 10 seconds to think about it, and then throw you into breakout rooms. Garrett Fernandez, how you doing?
I'm good.
You have a good weekend?
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty good.
All right, kiddos. We'll come back together in 2 minutes. Breakout rooms are open. Was the homework review. You just had to make sure you posted a video to Flipgrid, which we all did in class previously, so you're all set there. Looking at the reflection on that activity, hopefully you shared something about your workout and how you can better balance things, but what I want to emphasize and what we're kind of drive home this whole time is who can share why is doing this functional movement assessment and looking for symmetric movement, why is that a healthy thing? Like, how can that prevent injury? Who had some ideas about that? Was one of the reflection questions. Could jump in, or I'll choose a victim.
I just basically said how, like knowing what you're doing and what activities you are doing, how they are affecting your body, and if continuing doing the things that you're doing would injure you in the long run, basically.
Yep. Especially if you're doing what? Like, think about, like, I often think about professional baseball pitchers or like swimmers and stuff like that. Like, what's true about the physical motions that they're
repetitive?
Yeah, it's all the same, right? And you hear more and more now about this diversity training, in mixing things up, and how, you might have noticed, like, for if anyone ran cross country or has watched cross country practices at Stevenson, we often throw our runners into the pool to do swim workouts and stuff, just to kind of diversify things up and give their knees and ankles a break, right? Get in the water so they're not having that constant impact. That's good. The thing that I really took from Mr. Yamashita yesterday too was the whole idea of balance and counterbalance, and how, like, if there's a weakness on the left side, then you're going to get an injury on the right side, right? Because that now has to work twice as hard, which kind of sunk into me is like, you don't often think about that, right? And we see that again. I like running, and so you see that in hamstrings a lot, right? That if you've got a weakness in one leg or one hamstring, you're going to pull the other one because that one has to do twice as much work compensating for the steps you're taking while you're still trying to run. Anyway, I mean, it all gets complicated, but I thought that was kind of interesting to take away from it. So, all right. The only other homework was the reading reflection for chapter 5, or I don't remember. It was something 0.3. Was it 5.3, 14.3? I get all my other classes mixed up now. 5.3. But looking at the results of that, everything looked great. I do only see 9 attempts on it. There are 11 people here, so whichever 2 of you haven't been able to do that yet, make sure you get that done and in. Any other questions or comments on the homework? Jillian?
So on the reading reflection, I'm not sure if I was correct, but I know that one of the questions at the bottom said the something plane is responsible for sideways movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, I think I put frontal 3 different times and it was wrong. So I don't know if that's a mistake,
Okay.
or if it actually is. And I was wondering if it is the sagittal, then if you could explain why.
So let's see. I'm looking for the question now. So one of the questions was, in what direction are movements guided in the sagittal plane? Is that the question?
No. It's the last one. It's one of the drop down things where we have to choose which one. It was the first part of that.
First one. So blank plane movements are sideways movements, extending limbs from side to side. Correct answer to that was Sagittal. Oh,
Was that supposed
yes.
to be frontal?
That is incorrect. You're right. That should be frontal. So I'll correct that on the I'll correct that manually. So yes, very good point. I selected the wrong correct answer there for the automatic grading. Yes, that is frontal. So sagittal is the forward back motion, and frontal, which I know is counterintuitive with the name, but that's the side to side motion. So yes, very good. Thanks for pointing that out. I'll manually correct that on your quizzes, so don't panic about that.
Thank you.
Great.
I also have a question. For that same problem, what's the answer to number 3?
Question 3?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Like the third part. No. Like the
third
last
part.
question, but like the
Yeah,
third
so
part.
oppositely directed movements that bring the arm and leg closer to the midline center of the body are called, it is adduction, adduction. So it's abduction going out, adduction going back in.
Okay, so I have frontal.
Mm-hmm.
I have frontal, and then I have abduction for my answer for number 2.
Yep, that's
And
the
then
correct
I
one.
have adduction for
Yep.
number 3, and I have 2 out of 3 correct, even though I
Okay.
have frontal.
Yeah, again, I'll go and manually correct it. The Canvas sometimes just messes that stuff up. So,
Okay,
but I can go fix that manually. Yeah, it's just automatically grading it. It does some weird stuff. It like assigns like decimal values too. It does some weird stuff that I've seen in science too. So, all right, good points. Okay, then what we're going to do today is actually, again, initially I was going to test, but I was like, you know what, we should slow down. I want to do more with what Mr. Yamashita presented to us. And so today you're going to be watching your video and filling out a little Google form that Mr. Yamashita provided to kind of analyze your video and your movements, which I know we kind of did with the reflection and the homework, but this is gonna really get into the details of it. And so before I delve into that though, let me share my screen here for 2 seconds as a quick reminder. And make sure I didn't skip over anything. Nope, okay. So you're gonna be watching your own video of the deep squat. And just a reminder, you're gonna analyze it, answering a couple questions, and you're basically going from the feet up, right? So we're analyzing, just like in this image here, that's kind of like, this is an image of your ideal squat. Toes are facing forward, the butt is below the knees are over the toes, the back is relatively straight, the bar is still over the head. See, the bar is still held perfectly parallel to the ground. So these are all things that you're going to be sort of answering questions about and checking on, and just type up your observations about your movements. And, you know, if you want, you can mention like, I've been injured in this one leg, or I've been sitting on my computer a lot lately. And so maybe that's what's causing kind of the weakness in the back. Any ideas you might have. I am by no means a specialist like Mr. Yamashita is, but see if you can come up with any possible reasons for that. So if you click on the link to the Flipgrid, it'll take you to the Flipgrid. There are some of his other students posting here, but if you scroll down, you can find all of your videos there. So you're just watching your own. And then there's a Google form that looks like this that you'll be filling out. It's just yes or no questions, and then reflecting on it. So I'll be here listening if you have questions or if you're not sure what to do, but I'm going to time for 15 minutes to get through that. It probably won't take that long, but let's just see how we do. I'll keep an eye on the Google Forms, and once we have enough of them in, we'll move on to the next thing. So 15 minutes to watch your video and analyze it using the Google Form. Go for it. Most everybody in the class was in pretty good shape. He had some good, funny analysis for everybody. All right. So that was just touching on muscle movement and how to stay healthy. The last thing I wanted to do with muscle movement, as Mr. Yamashita also mentioned in his class yesterday, was that there's all these weird names for the ways that we can move our limbs, right? Whether you're moving on the sagittal plane or the frontal plane. Oh, so one of my videos playing or something? Oh, my bad. Sorry. I have a Flipgrid playing in the background here. Let me turn that off. So next activity is going to be one last Flipgrid activity we're going to do. Sorry for getting sick of these, but I'm going to get you up out of your chairs. And what you're going to be doing is demonstrating each of the movements and using the correct term for it based on the image from the textbook about directional movements. This is step number 4 on the tasks to complete. When you click on that assignment right there, directional movement Flipgrid, it'll take you to this with the basic instructions. Please make sure you have a nice open space around you so you're not falling over. I made a little demonstration video with my youngest daughter, Piper. So if you want to see my daughter, Piper, doing some of these movements, it's kind of fun. But you're basing everything off of this image here. And I'd like you to just do each of these, right? So everything on the sagittal plane, frontal plane, and the, I think they call it the transverse. And it's straight out of your textbooks. You're welcome to have that in front of you to refer to while you're doing it, or you can refer to it on the screen. But show me, again, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, extension, hyperextension, all of these things. So just like you did with the deep squat video, it might be best to orient your camera so you can get a head to toe shot of yourself, and just go through each of these while saying them and demonstrating the motion. Again, all time for about 15 minutes to get through this, and we'll come back together once it looks like everyone's got the videos made. Let me know if you have questions or if you're not sure what to do. Go for it.